Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you drive a Chery Tiggo 2, you already know it's a fantastic, practical daily companion. But taking true ownership? Well, that means understanding what's actually going on under the hood. Today, we're diving into the source material to completely demystify the fault codes of your Chery Tiggo 2. We're going to put you in the driver's seat of your vehicle's health. We've all been there, right? That absolute sinking feeling, that universal dread when a check engine light suddenly glares at you from the dash. But honestly, reframing that reaction changes everything. The car isn't trying to ruin your day. It's simply asking for help using a secret language. Let's figure out how to translate it.
Okay, let's dive into this structured roadmap for decoding this system safely and easily. We're going to cover 1. Your car's secret language, 2. Engine and transmission codes, 3. Electrical, brakes, and communication, 4. How to read fault codes, and 5. Real owner diagnostic stories.
Section 1. Your car's secret language.
To really decode this language, we first need to look at your car's onboard computer not as a nuisance, but as a super helpful translator. Every modern Chery vehicle uses an onboard diagnostic system, commonly known as OBD2. When a sensor detects an abnormal reading anywhere in the car, it logs a diagnostic trouble code, or DTC. Think of it like a hyper-specific medical chart just for your car.
Section 2. Engine and transmission codes. Heading straight to the powertrain, these P codes are attached to symptoms you'll actually physically feel while driving. For example, a P0300 means a random misfire, which totally explains that rough, shaking idle you might be feeling at a stoplight. A P0171 means the system is running too lean. And yeah, technically you can drive with a lean code, but it seriously accelerates engine wear, so you don't want to ignore it. And a very common one is P0420, indicating catalyst efficiency is low, which often points to a bad catalytic converter or honestly just a faulty oxygen sensor.
So the crucial point is, look at how this applies to the CVT-equipped models, especially with the P0730 code for an incorrect gear ratio. A shop might feel a CVT shutter and immediately suggest a massive, expensive full teardown. But in Chery models, these shutter complaints are frequently tied to the simple condition of the transmission fluid, not necessarily a broken CVT build. Checking your fluid history first is an absolute game changer for your wallet.
Section 3. Electrical, brakes, and communication. Okay, we need to shift our tone and get a bit serious for a second here. Because while a lean engine code is annoying, ignoring chassis codes, or C codes, can be physically dangerous. A C code often completely disables your anti-lock braking system and your electronic stability program. If you have to slam on your brakes in an emergency, especially in the rain, without those systems active, your stopping distance dramatically increases. But hey, there is actually some good news when that terrifying ABS warning light pops on. Codes like C0035, C0040, and C0050 directly relate to wheel speed sensors. These little guys live way down by your wheels, constantly exposed to dirt, grime, and moisture. Fixing this scary warning is very often as simple as cleaning or replacing a relatively inexpensive wheel speed sensor. Then there are the U codes, which are basically communication errors. Seeing U0100 lost communication with ECM, or having your dashboard suddenly go pitch black with a U0155 sounds catastrophic. It sounds like the car's brain just completely died. But the data shows us these rarely mean the computer modules themselves are actually fried. Usually it's just a loose connector, damaged wiring, or even just a weak battery disrupting the signal. Section 4. How to read fault codes. Now, what's really interesting about this is just how accessible building a practical DIY translation kit is. You really don't need a $1,000 professional machine to read standard P codes. An inexpensive, basic Bluetooth ELM327 dongle paired with a free smartphone app is completely sufficient to get you started. Add in a multimeter and some MAF sensor cleaner, and you are well on your way to diagnosing things yourself. The process itself is wonderfully straightforward. Step 1. Plug the scanner into the diagnostic port under your dash. Step 2. Scan for the codes and make sure to screenshot or note the freeze frame data. Step 3. Resolve the underlying mechanical issue. And Step 4. Only after the fix, clear the codes with the scanner. I want to explicitly warn against a common myth here. Temporarily disconnecting your battery for 15 minutes is not a proper fix. It just clears the light while leaving the root problem totally unsolved. Section 5. Real owner diagnostic stories.
To really anchor this technical data, let's look at some deeply relatable anecdotes from the Drive to Rue community. Take this Chery Tiggo owner who was dealing with that notorious P0420 catalyst code. Instead of panicking and dropping a ton of cash on a brand new catalytic converter, the community rightly advised them to focus on testing and isolating the oxygen sensors first.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between methodical diagnosis and expensive assumptions. Testing an oxygen sensor is cheap. It's easy. Replacing a catalytic converter, that's a major expense. It is always, always best to rule out the small, inexpensive sensors feeding data to the computer before assuming the large hardware has failed.
But we do have to look at a counterexample here. Another owner with a persistent P0420 code methodically used an endoscope to actually look inside the exhaust system. And sure enough, they found the catalytic converter substrate was physically breaking apart at nearly 120,000 kilometers and had to replace it. It proves exactly why a warning code, even a common one, should never be permanently ignored.
I absolutely love this story from a Tiggo 5 owner who hit 100,000 kilometers before seeing their very first check engine light. Because they were prepared and empowered, they diagnosed a P0420 right there in their own driveway with that inexpensive Bluetooth dongle and a free app. They totally avoided an immediate, stressful, and potentially costly trip to a workshop just to find out what was wrong.
Finally, we have an owner who experienced a major loss of power. By pulling the codes, they found a P0300 and a P0304, which is a misfire specifically on cylinder number 4. That exact code acts as a targeted roadmap. Instead of just randomly replacing parts and hoping for the best, they immediately narrowed their suspects to the ignition coil and spark plug wiring for that one specific cylinder. It's like having the cheat code to a giant puzzle.
So, to summarize all of this, building proactive maintenance habits is absolutely key. Scanning your Tiggo for DTCs every few months, even if you don't have a check engine light on, can reveal pending codes that might be silently affecting your performance. Address codes early to prevent cascading damage, keep a log of what you've resolved, and please never ignore seemingly minor lean or catalyst codes. Which leaves us with one final thought. The computer in your Chery Tiggo 2 is working incredibly hard every single time you turn the key, all to keep you safe and on the road. So what steps will you take today to ensure your vehicle isn't silently trying to warn you about a hidden problem? Getting a scanner and learning this language is just such a fantastic investment. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy driving.